Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the number one growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monty and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monty and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monty the Pharaoh, Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Nefaro, seen only here at Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board is our super producer, Matty Ice. Matty, how are you?
Doing amazing.
To the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy.
Greetings and salutations. Back again. What's going on?
Good last show before the show with the legends.
Yeah, I should have had my rabies shots before that show. I think I got a little excited. A morning Farrow. Yeah.
It's funny because
I hate mornings.
Our honored guests, Sandman and Shane Douglas, are in studio. We'll introduce them in a minute. But they were at a signing, I think, in Copiague, New York.
Okay.
I was checking in just to see how they were doing, and it looked like Sandman was as tired as you were this morning.
Well, Sandman probably has a similar lifestyle. I don't want to say for him, but, probably up late and then have to get up early, and then I got to go here.
99 bananas.
Nice.
Monty Nefaro can be seen on the Monty Nefaro YouTube page, Facebook Live, Monty Nefaro page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monty Nefaro page. Channel 115, Cable, New York. Every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, you will see these two superstars in their condensed.
Not reduced.
I say reduced.
Say reduced. It sounds like I have a performance issue.
Early risers on Channel 115, 6 a.m. to 6:30, and then on Channel 20 at 2 a.m. to 2:30.
Farrow time.
Right after this commercial break, we'll be back with these pro wrestling icon, ECW icons, Shane Douglas and the Sandman.
EC Dub.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence. Collision Specialists. 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. All
right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Nefaro, seen only here out of Indie Music TV in Long Island, New York. I want to thank the band that sings the theme song for the Monty Nefaro show, Wisteria Hall. You can catch Wisteria Hall's music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation, along with the lead singer, Jimmy Farrow, to my right, and his partner, Bart Griggs. Catch their music. I would recommend it. All right, well, our esteemed guests, probably two of the greatest pro wrestlers in the history of pro wrestling. And I was just telling the Sandman and Shane, since Sandman's last appearance, our network has grown tremendously, so we owe a ton of gratitude to both of these two gentlemen.
Absolutely.
So really important. How you guys holding up?
Doing well, but I gotta say, you guys have moved up in the world. You're like George Jefferson, right? You're moving on up.
We're moving on up.
You're welcome.
And here I was. I thought he was going to break into song. Sandman sings "Moving On Up."
And Weezy would have loved it.
Weezy would have loved it. No, seriously, how you guys hold up with COVID and everything that's been going on?
Physically, I'm doing great. Other than getting fat, I'm just so over this. To me, it's all over the place. I had a quick story. I have a 90-year-old neighbor, 89 years old, and she's a frail 89. She smoked for 75, 78 years. I get a text from her daughter one morning. Mom was diagnosed with COVID this morning. She's my buddy. And my heart sunk. I thought, wow, Dorothy's a goner, right? The next morning, late morning, I see him getting out of the car and her mask on, walking up the sidewalk. And my first thought was, they sending her home to die? Or, what's going on? I was worried sick all night. Saw her daughter coming out a little while later, and I said, what's the deal? And she said, Mom was doing great. They had her on oxygen, lowest level of oxygen, 2 milliliters for 4 hours. Her O2 sats got so high that they had to take her back off of it, send her home. So I'm thinking, if the 90-year-old chick can kick this thing's ass, I know my kids could. And I'm pretty sure the franchise and the Magnificent Quaff could probably do the same. So
I think it was the 75 years of smoking that toughened her up for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually,
my grandma smoked that long, dude, lived to be like low 90s.
I read a very strange statistic that said over 90% of people who are cigarette smokers and whiskey drinkers are not getting COVID at all.
I've been good.
I think the COVID goes in, gets a whiff of the whiskey, and whatever else you've been smoking, goes and gets out.
Takes off.
Very possible. All right.
How about you guys? How are you holding up in it?
I guess we're holding up.
I'm not holding up. I'm hating.
I was telling you guys, I haven't revealed this, but since I saw you guys back, we had Nikita Koloff in studio. Actually, had a massive heart attack. I had 100% blockage in my main artery.
Holy smokes!
I had no idea it was going on. I walked around for 3 weeks. I went to the cardiologist. They did an EKG. They're like, you got to get to the hospital. Went there. They opened me up. I was just telling Farrell I got my blood work back. Now, it's funny, through diet, so I was always a pretty heavy weight lifter, and I always exercised and everything, but I was definitely overweight and overate and like a fat slob that I was, or am. But now my blood work, everything's the opposite, right? Good. Now it's like your cholesterol's too low.
Yeah.
Now everything's too low, but I've dropped like 65 pounds. And,
I looked in this, saw you around the corner. I was looking for you, not realizing when I was looking at you that it was you. Right. You look great.
Well, it was just like
I was
saying, it was like I didn't even know I had a heart attack. I was cutting the lawn. I had just worked out, weights, for like 3 hours, whatever. Cutting the lawn, my lungs started burning. My right arm started burning, then it went away, and then it just progressively, I felt like shit for like weeks upon weeks and upon weeks. But,
so did you think COVID?
COVID, nothing.
No, but I'm saying, did you think that like when you were feeling like shit?
No, it wasn't like that type of symptoms, but it's, look, you know what? Like you said, I'm over it. Like, you got enough shit to worry about, your family, making money.
Amen.
And now you got to deal with, oh shit, I hope I don't catch COVID. Because then you hear that people get COVID, and once you're past COVID, all of a sudden, now you have brain problems. Now you have this.
Right.
But then again, we just talked about this, and we'll probably just talk about it now. You can't believe anything you're told anymore.
Well, it's
what's happened to this country?
Amen. It's everything and it's nothing, right? Like, from all we've been told by fake news, my neighbor should have been the goner, right? And then you see other people much younger supposedly dying from it, people getting it, no symptoms. I mean, it's anything and everything. Pick out a symptom, you could have COVID. It could be that symptom, you could have COVID. Die of something else, you could have COVID. And it's just, when you turn on for me anyway, as a lifelong watcher of news and politics, and literally everything we're being told being a lie. Or, like, I'm catching myself, I'm a pretty darn good researcher, and I'll find something and start to dig into it. And I'll be 2-3 hours later, I'm still finding it's not, it's true, it's false, it's bullshit, it's real. And, it's so all over the place. And I know that the average person that's working 2 jobs, or hopefully still working 2 jobs.
Lucky to have one of the 2 left.
And trying to keep their nose above the water. They don't have time to come down and sit down and say, hey, I just saw this on this network. Is it real or is it,
You're right.
It's just, it's daunting. And for me, it blows my mind that we have our news agencies blatantly lying to us. So, for somebody being skeptical of this whole COVID thing, can you blame me for being skeptical? It's up, it's down, it's in, it's out, it's black, it's white, it's everything and nothing.
Has it changed how you guys go about your daily lives?
Because I'm around, 389, 90-year-olds, I'll sanitize far more than I usually would. But I do the flu season anyway.
Okay.
I think this thing is ridiculous because it's not going to stop a virus.
Right. Now, on the subject, if I can, real quick.
Wait, real quick, not to cut you off. But by the way, I don't necessarily agree with Shane on that. So there's Monty Nefaro face masks that are on sale on the www.montyNefaro.com.
Those ones are different, though. Right?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I've heard of shameless plugs, but butt plugs? I can't.
That was fucking good.
Holy shit. On the subject of sanitizing, now, Matt, I don't know if you could get a shot of this, but it's pretty obvious that Sandman is just the way he's always been. Could you do me a favor, Sandman? Could you let everybody see your socks? He doesn't have any shoes on! I mean, literally.
I know, dude. This place is so nice. I just snuggled right in, shoes off, put some popcorn in the microwave.
The mask went flying. The shoes came off. I'm like, what's going on?
Hey,
here?
the couch is comfy this time.
How clean?
Not sitting in a fold-up metal chair.
You guys were at an autograph signing. How clean was that place? The one you were at before. Was it all right?
How clean?
Yeah. Was it clean?
Well, yeah, it was clean, but it was cluttered. There was a shit. I love it going into places like that because it's like I was just there, like I don't know, let's say 2 months ago, and you always find something new to fucking like a different doll, a magazine, a fucking picture that you didn't fucking say. So I like it. It's like
Did you keep your shoes on?
It's like a little treasure trove from I kept the shoes on over there.
All right, so this.
You didn't want to go into their bathroom.
All right. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what went down January 6th, if I can. Okay, this is not a wrestling question. This is a reality question.
Yeah.
How did
Fuck
you guys...
wrestling. Let's talk real life.
Yeah, let's talk real life. Well, how did you guys feel on January 6th when that shit went down?
Heartbroken, right? I mean, to me, again, like as somebody, my dad was a World War II vet, raised with pride of the country and everything. That's the kind of stuff that should not be happening in this country.
Agreed.
But like my professors in college taught me, take 5 steps back to get the macro view. Why are those people doing it? Mm-hmm. What's got them so pissed off that they want to storm the Capitol? And when you listen to the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, they are so tone deaf to what's going on out here. What they're putting all of us through in our families. I told Hack earlier, 30-40% of small businesses. If it goes on much longer, another 30 or 40%, 80% of the jobs in this country come from small businesses. Mm-hmm. My sister-in-law, my brother passed away.
They're still trying to push their fake fucking unemployment rate is like 6.9%.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's impossible for.
What do you think it is, Sandman?
I would think it was almost double.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. How did you feel on January 6th when you saw what you saw?
I don't know, dude. I feel aghast, but then once you look into where the fuck was the regular security at that place?
I totally agree.
Are you kidding me? Well, they pulled people out 2 days before instead of putting more in. It was made to happen for some reason.
Exactly. You think our old friend Devil Pelosi was like, okay, let them all in. So then
literally,
we
it was
can
like
blame
plastic fence. It was like a plastic fence that they had to move, and the whole place was theirs.
Right.
There were videos online shortly after that were taken down. I've since found them again, where you can see the Capitol Police holding the doors open for them, welcoming them in, which seems odd to me.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Especially if you got Congress in there doing something that's pretty important. Then we've been here now and again. I say all this with if it's true, because I don't have 90 hours today to sit down and decide is this piece of information I'm getting from CNN true or not. But all these pieces that the FBI knew about it for 2 weeks. At least
there was all this chatter.
The New York
there was tons of chatter, dude. They're listening to us right now on our phones, dude. Right. They know.
The Capitol Police requested multiple times. Now we're finding out that Trump offered up 10,000 National Guards troops, all turned down. So again, like, what was the impetus?
Who was pulling them strings,
dude? No question.
Interesting. Thoughts on the new president?
Nothing yet. All he's done now is, to me, he's just got rid of shit that Trump did. Let's go back into the climate accord. Let's stop building the wall.
Let Iran build bombs.
Let's change this. What?
Let Iran build bombs. He wants to go back to that.
Dude, okay, first of all, dude, we've been saying since the early 70s that Iran has a nuclear fucking capabilities.
True.
Dude, we killed one of their best scientists like 10 years ago. We stuck a magnetic bomb. A dude on a motorcycle stuck a magnetic bomb on his taxi and blew the dude's sky high. That was like 10 years ago, dude. We've been saying that for years, dude. And what is it, Iran? Dude, Pakistan and India have what is Pakistan doing with the fucking nuclear weapon? Mm-hmm. Why? I don't understand. Because India got one?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Who gets to be one of the 5?
So does the Middle East concern the Sandman, or is just like, I'll stop?
Dude, it's been that way. They've been fighting for thousands of years.
And they'll continue to, right?
You're not changing shit over there. It got worse. It got worse when we put Israel on the fucking map after World War II, when there was no such thing as Israel. All right, you know what? We need a little security guard over there for the United States, and give them all their fucking all their military shit.
Let's back up. How did you think former President Trump did in his 4 years in office?
Dude, look what all right, just think about this. The day he gets into office, let's say the stock market's at 18,009. The day the corona hits, the stock market's at almost $29,000. In less than a year, he had it back and higher than $29,000. That's all he had to do. That's basic economics. Any other man would have done that. He'd have fucking won more fucking votes ever than in the history of any other election, dude. If you pulled off fucking financially I'm not saying that the stock market is just smoke and mirrors and inflated somehow, but
So do you guys feel that he was basically fucked from day one when it came to media manipulation?
Well, you heard how it was. You just heard it was never anything good about Trump. Right. It's like funny. How come his wife's supermodel and everything? Never heard a word about her style. Biden's wife's in there one day. They're talking about she's a new style trendsetter. It's a perfect little bullshit example, though, but it's one that people can believe in.
What I loved was, did you guys catch the town hall last week with?
I caught the first half, and I was just like,
you got the president of the United States standing on the stage, right? And the question, the tough ball, the tough curveball he throws to Biden is, what's it like being in the White House after 50 years of being there? How's it feel? And, with all due respect, that's fine of a question, but where's the next question of, hey, you got 11,000 Keystone Pipeline workers you put out of work and another 100,000 ancillary workers in that area. And now you want to shut down these others and on and on and on. No tough ball questions like that. When he and his wife were out last week in the
and he knows all of them before that they're fucking he's already practiced them.
So you bring up the pipeline. So I had the conversation with my wife. My wife's been screaming about that pipeline, about closing it down forever and ever. I said,
dude, is it over fucking half of it already made?
Yeah.
There's just a couple of parts where aren't they fighting with the Indians?
But I said to my wife, you're not because thank God I've been working this whole time. Not a problem. She's been working. We're not feeling what these other people are feeling.
Right.
It's very easy to say, close it down, be unemployed, whatever. It's
Well, there's a couple points about this. First of all, by stopping that pipeline, you'd think, okay, well, the United States is saving money. Backtrack for a second. That oil is still going to be coming from the sands.
Yes, and it's the shittiest oil you can fucking get from anywhere, and it takes more process to fucking get the shit into a car than it takes than any other oil that you can get anywhere.
Right.
So
now, instead of coming in on a clean pipeline, they're going to be coming in by train and by truck. I would guess probably spewing a little more CO2 than that pipeline would have. But as far as the United States government, let's say Hack in his construction business has some, he's ordered up 1,000 cubic yards of steel, and they owe him for that. Plus, they have a contract for so long. They're going to have to pay out the contract. They're now going to have to pay him to get rid of that steel or store that steel. So this is going to end up costing us about $6 billion more on top of it. And I guess money has become like air now. Let's just spend and keep spending and spending and spending.
Doesn't matter. It's not worth anything anymore, dude.
Yeah, it's
just not. There's no gold. We were talking about it
before,
dude. There's no gold backing up this money, dude.
It's all
We're
fake
just
money.
printing shit.
It's all fake money.
We're just printing it. Hey, I hope we don't end up like the Soviet Union did.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Remember this little cliche? We're going to build it back better. Well, if you're going to build your house back better, that would insinuate that you're going to either tear the old one down, or it's burned down or something. You're not going to go to a perfectly nice house and say, well, let's build it back better. You've been following politics as long as I've been teaching it. You can sort of see through these buzzwords and phrases. So the insinuation of build it back better means you got to destroy it first, right? And let's face it, the last 4 years have been pretty good economically for the country. So hard to come in and say we can build it back better. Who wants to leave the smoking hot economy to try something else? So let's destroy it. Let's put us all out of work. Let's shut down all these small businesses. Let's kill these pipelines and kill the wall and all these other projects that are going midstream. And, in the meantime,
if we're spending any money, we should be spending it on infrastructure, dude.
Amen.
There's like thousands of bridges fucking right now across the United States that could fucking easily collapse, dude. Like the one did in fucking not too far from Pittsburgh. The last one, it was like less than 10 years.
Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I know it's somewhere out there, but yeah, dude, our infrastructure is crumbling bad, dude.
Well, how do you feel about now that they want to, within an 8-year plan, to allow over 12 million illegal immigrants back into the country?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be great for our fucking economy. Are you kidding? All right, we don't have enough jobs as it is. Right. Let's be 12 million more. What are we going to give them? We're going to put them on a year fucking unemployment fucking when they get here, too?
But it could be good for you because what I see is all these people on unemployment getting this free funding. They take this money, this government money, and then they buy wrestling autographs.
Or no, they send it back home.
There you go.
They send it back home.
With
That's
the
what they do.
With the autograph.
Let me ask you guys to chime in on this. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban has decided that he doesn't want to play the national anthem during his games. What do you think?
Fine. It's his prerogative.
Is it his prerogative, though?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother.
It's obviously his prerogative. There's no law that says that you have to play it before ever.
Right.
There's no law there.
Well, they don't play it before pro wrestling events, do they?
Of course they do.
They do? Colmac Arena used to play the national anthem?
I remember them playing it before the
they do it in live shows?
Do they really? Okay.
Did we ever do it?
They'll put a kid in the ring.
Okay, yeah, but I just did. To me, I don't remember like ECW doing it.
One time in 911 choke slammed.
I do remember that.
Come on.
So
it was Santa Claus. It was Santa Claus during the national anthem, and he got the choke.
How does that bother you personally, though? Does it bother you at all that the national anthem's being played with like this?
No, absolutely not, dude. When I look at the flag, I don't look at the flag like. When I was younger, it was, hey, the Stars and Stripes and Francis Scott Key, freaking when the bombs are bursting in air, you know what I'm saying, dude? And France comes and saves us and everything. But to me, I look at it as it's some of the nasty shit that we do all over the planet. Like try and create other governments all the time, everywhere, and it blows up in our face. You know what I mean? Stuff like the Bay of Pigs, Somalia, dude. We're not government built. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. And when I look at the flag, that's the kind of stuff that I see. I see us not taking care of our veterans at all.
Right.
It's a joke. Our veterans fucking get hurt. We send them over there to possibly die, and they can't get proper health care when they get back to the United States, dude. That's some of the stuff that I see when I see the flag now.
Yeah. Over time, it's the ideology that we grew up when we were younger has basically been beaten out of us. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Just the life experiencing what the country's put us through over the last, especially 20 years. To me, 9/11 changed everything personally. But,
absolutely. The Patriot Act.
Nothing's been the same since.
That was a work too.
Yeah, I agree.
With Bush and Osama bin Laden's dad were in the same hotel when that happened. And the bin Ladens were the only people in the world that were allowed to get on a plane and fly anywhere within the next 72 hours.
My wife forbade me to even talk about that because she's like, "Don't talk. You sound like a nutcase." But I totally agree.
What happened to all the gold that was underneath fucking the first tower, dude? There was billions. There was supposedly billions and billions of dollars of gold underneath that place.
Is it off?
And it would never have melted. You would have always found it in the cleanup.
I want to get Shane's opinion on what he feels what's going on with the country because I think it's important to understand.
I think it's just first of all, the thing that blows my mind. And when I taught, and throughout my life, I've been, since old enough to understand it, I am a staunch constitutionalist. Every answer to every problem we have is in that document. You may not like that answer, but it's there. And you have the right to change it if you don't like that. And, without getting into the boring civics lesson, when I see a social platform, and I'll give you both sides of the argument, and then I'll knock the other sides down, where we're being censored off of social media, right? And what does the other side say? Yeah, but those are private companies. Okay, so let me refresh their memory what the Constitution says. Congress shall make no law infringing the freedoms of speech, press, religion, and assembly. So I would ask to anybody out there, Congress passes a law called Section 230 that gives them total immunity. So if the local newspaper here goes out and says Shane Douglas is a drug dealer, I can sue the shit out of them because it's not true for slander and libel. But you can go on there, you can freeze me out, you can have people say the most horrible things about me on there or the greatest things about me on there, and I can't even respond because I've been locked out. That's called censorship in my book. And that's the kind of stuff you see happening that if you go back and look at your history books, that's the first thing that Mao did when he took over China, the first thing Castro did, the first thing Hitler did. All of them, all the despots, right? And so now we're seeing this country, but it's okay because yours is hate speech. Well, who's the decider and the arbiter of that? If I get to be the arbiter, I'm all for it. But I'm guessing you guys probably wouldn't be, and people on the other side probably wouldn't be. Like I used to tell my kids when I taught, I'd walk into the classroom and I started into the Bill of Rights and I'd give them the franchise glare for like 30 seconds, uncomfortable, right? How many people here would like to shut Mr. Martin up? And the smart asses would shoot their hand up really quickly, right? And the other kids, after you told them, if I promised you couldn't get in trouble, and they sort of sheepishly put their hands up, pretty much everybody in the room would like to shut Mr. Martin up. And my intro to the First Amendment was, be careful what you ask for, because once you shut me up, it's only a matter of time before they shut you up. It has to be unfair. The First Amendment isn't there for popular speech. That doesn't need to be protected. We're all cheer, rah, rah, that. It's for when a Martin Luther King comes along and says, I look for the day that my children will be judged by the content of their character or the color of their skin. That was extraordinarily unpopular at the time, yet it was protected. The Nazis that go out, the neo-Nazis, the Klansmen, that's all protected speech as long as they don't yell with the proverbial fire in a crowded theater, or you're a drug dealer,
doesn't go in the fire in a theater,
and so when I see censorship, that pretty much tells me that they're afraid to engage in a debate of ideas. And so just shut me down, you win automatically. And it's an extraordinarily dangerous place. The direction this country's heading right now scares me. Not for me, for my children.
Yep. I wonder about the morale of citizens in other countries, like in Russia or in China, because I don't believe Russia and China lets the press have the liberties that we do here.
No.
So dude, they shut down their internets. China, both countries don't let you see everything on the internet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything's fucking. You get this and that's it,
people.
People.
That's good or bad in
it's
our
obviously
situation
bad.
Where we have just an influx of diarrhea.
Well, yeah, it's your job as a human being to be an intelligent human being to decipher it, dude. You know what I'm saying?
But when you have the diarrhea that's posted on social media, also being then pushed by the media, the mainstream media,
right?
It gives it some air of legitimacy, and
social media is media now,
right?
It really is.
But if you notice what they do with all these is it doesn't matter how grand the lie is, they'll put a snippet of truth in there. So then if you say, well, all this other stuff is crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. And they'll point back to the one fragment of truth that's in it. It's incredibly dangerous anytime you start to engage in censorship. But I was going to make a point there with, it'll pop back in my head in a second. We're heading in a direction that's not good. And when 50% of the country is being shut up and threatened, canceled.
Literally 50%.
Yeah.
And it's never been like that before, dude. You've never seen a divide like this now. Even socioeconomics fucking divide and fucking just your political thinking divide, the way you fucking want to bring up your kids, that divide, you know what I mean? Sure. What's gonna, to me, when I think of that, I think of, do we realize now that if the government keeps going the way it does with this regime in here, that you're going to be able to abort a child at 8 months in a mom's stomach? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dude, that's a big divide from a lot of this country in there. It's just a tiny little example, you know what I mean, dude? We're a divided country, dude, and half of them carry guns, and the other of them carry fucking mops and fucking brooms, dude, and knives. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The fucking GOP's carries all the guns, dude.
Right.
And we've reached a place where you can't even talk, right? If you try to engage in a conversation with somebody on ideas, you automatically get labeled as this or that.
Sure.
And both sides engage in it. The party politics that we're seeing right now disgust me.
Dude, but they're both fucked. You know why? Because if Trump starts his own party, he can third way win his, just like Jesse the Body got into being the governor, because there was a three-way split. He won with 29% of the vote.
That's what the devil's trying to do. She's trying to eliminate the possibilities of this happening.
Well, that's why they wanted to impeach him the second time, so he could never come back fucking and run for office. And they wanted to throw his family in there, too. Are you serious?
A world without ECW.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what the whole
what they're trying to do. That's
what that second impeachment was about, dude.
Get out of here.
They're like, dude, you ain't ever running again for office. Not even fucking school fucking council or whatever.
Trump's going to do a Paul Heyman. Is that what you get out here? That's pretty cool.
I'm going to just throw a little insert in here. I bet none of you expect to get geopolitics from Sandman.
Yeah. No.
How about that?
But what's really shocking to one of the fans out there, I think it's kind of fun, they're saying, Sandman, what the fuck? You drinking milk?
What?
No, it's water. It's just a milk container. I fill it with water.
Okay.
I drink 3 things: milk, water, and 99 bananas.
99
no soda, no iced tea, no coffee, no nothing, dude. Those 3 things. And milk with cereal, pretty much.
You also one of the fans want to know: is that pen you're smoking legal in New York right now?
Yes.
That's what he said. I don't fucking know.
I'm here and I'm licensed in New York. I say yes.
So you're from the Faro. It is.
It's just CBD. I promise.
There you go, guys. Over the last year, around the time that we had you on the show, we also had Animal from the Road Warriors. Any thoughts on Animal and his passing? While I got you guys here.
Yeah, I got the text early that morning and immediately jumped on the internet thinking this has to be bullshit. And I texted his wife Kim, and several hours went by, so I sort of started breathing easier, and about 3 hours later she texted, I texted her, please tell me this is bullshit, and she texted back, it isn't. I've known Joe for 30 plus years. Used to travel together back in the day. I'd be like the little gremlin just like digging at him all day long just to entertain myself, right, until he'd snap and threaten to break my neck or something. But he just a good dude. He was a staunch Christian, especially as he got older. Found a great wife in Kim, a real sweetheart. And then to hear that, and I've heard different things. I've never really dug into it. In my head, with all these guys and friends of ours that are dying and have died, in my head I have them on a Japan tour. So like they'll be coming back from Japan soon. So I haven't really dug into it, but I heard heart, I heard cancer, I've heard so many different things. And again, how the internet, that we're talking about the internet with the rumor mill, you don't really know what it is or isn't. All I know is my friend's gone. And you talk about one of the iconic wrestlers, right, from the glory years, the Road Warriors, when that Iron Man would hit and they'd come with that curtain,
fucking
electricity.
Thoughts, Sandman?
No, the place would explode. I was just watching a documentary. Were they on Vice documentary or something?
They were. It was on hold.
Oh, whatever it was. It was good. Yeah, dude. Oh, dude. Because I didn't get to see a lot of them because, dude, until I got cable in like 1979. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, but I didn't know him. I didn't know the dude when I was wrestling. I only met him afterwards when I'd see him at autograph signings all the time. Yeah, he was cool.
Well, speaking of like icons, right? You guys, you chose a career, which certainly it could go in a tanker fairly quickly, or you could be at the level of you guys where you're such an influence. How does it feel like after all this time that thousands and thousands of people want your autograph? They still want to talk to you.
But I should have appreciated it more when I was doing it.
Yeah.
Literally, it's the first thing that comes to my head. Yeah, absolutely.
It blows my mind. When I was coming into wrestling, I was looking up at, the Bruno Sammartinos and the Harley Races, and I mean, just these, like, wow. And, they have had the pleasure of learning from them and working on shows with them and just getting to know them. And you see, as the sands of time pass, there will come a time, hopefully way down the road, where he and I will be gone. For me, personally, I'm sure for all of us, to have come into this business and you don't even have any inkling that you can have a career, let alone have a long career, and then beyond that anybody remembers anything that I did, to me it just still blows my mind. Like, we were on the signing earlier, and I told said what message to the fans. I said thank you, for allowing me, this idiot from New Brighton, Pennsylvania, to have had a career. And I've loved every second of it. The shit side of the business is the shit side of the business. But, I don't see Hack for a year. We see each other. It's always a hug. Hey, we catch up.
Right where we left off.
Yeah, right where we left off. It's a great fraternity.
Keep calling him that WCW name. It's
driving me. Well, we always call him.
Dude, that's my name. My grandparents call me that. Parents, my kids, my oldest boys. The only one that does it is I can't get my 12-year-old to call me Hack. He's still calling me Dad.
Is it a little?
But my grandson and my granddaughter Hack.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's only 9 months old. But we hacked to him, and I already am now.
So what do you call him, like Hack Jr.?
What?
Nah.
No.
He's got
Junior, right?
He's got Bill Watts mitts. This kid, 9 months old.
So he's 9 months. So he doesn't have skinny kids' fingers. I'll show you. This kid's got free.
Get him a cane yet?
So does it hurt more that you have this extended family when all these friends are passing away like this? I mean, obviously, it hurts when you have all sorts of.
Dude,
you have this big, long family.
I was over. I've been immune to my friends dying ever since we went through that span of those 5 years and like 30 dudes and stuff, dude. I no emotion comes to me anymore.
Really?
Wow. Because it was so prevalent for a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh fuck. Yeah. You know, dude, I'm just immune to it. Even if it's somebody from high school that I was friends with, and, because I'm at my, I went to graduated in like '81. And those people were starting to die. I'm like, I'm immune to death. And it's because of that.
Understood. You guys ever come across Brody Lee, who just recently passed? Luke Harper from WWE.
I'd met him a couple times. Seemed like a really nice guy. I mean, it just. And again, like all I heard was the guy was something lung related. Was it COVID or was there any?
So you can't ever figure out anymore what anyone passes away from now. Yeah. And that's the first thing that happens when you find out that someone passed away. It's like, what did they pass away from?
Right.
Like I don't know. I guess it's human nature, right? And
sure.
Like even with Kevin Green, the football star, right? Still don't know how that guy died.
Yeah.
They say could have been a heart attack.
Dude, he's a pretty fucking hyper person anyway. You do enough juice like that for enough years, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I do know one thing COVID did that I will never forgive it for. It killed Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island. So fuck off, COVID.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So how could you, Mary Ann?
Well, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and Sandman and Shane Douglas will be dropping.
We'll be back with some more politics. It's world affairs.
Sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite 4-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah. Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty Nefaro. Only seen here out of Indie Music TV in Long Island, New York, Ron Konkema. We have the honor of having these two great superstars, Mr. Shane Douglas and Mr. Sandman, but we're going to call him Hack.
Okay. I'm on board now.
My brother gave me that name when I was 5 years old. He was like 8 years old, so I've had it since then.
Beautiful.
That's how I got in WCW. Nash is walking up to me in the hallway one day, and he goes, you're not using the Sandman name. They're worried about getting sued. He goes, what do you want to be called? I said, Hack. He goes, okay. Literally, it was like a 10, 15-second conversation.
That was difficult. What was that, because of Metallica with Sandman?
No, it was because, I own the shit, and I prove them that I own the shit, but they're worried about Sandman comic book and Sandman fucking concrete company in California suing them.
Sandman comic book, Neil Gaiman, DC Comics. Okay, that I can.
I used to wear his shirts to the ring, actually, but nobody knew what they were or anything.
Oh, you used to wear the striped shirt?
The Sandman comic shirts. He had a couple different ones, like 4 different ones he sent to me.
Man, you should have wore that Sandman striped shirt. That would have been fucking sick. I wasn't even thinking about that, right? Oh. Well, as long as they pay you, who gives a shit, right? That's the way I think about it. That's what we were just talking about while we were off air. Shane asked what I thought was happening, how I felt about the country. I'm like, look, as things get better, I don't give a shit. But again, if they pay you, not to use Sandman, who gives a shit, right? It doesn't really matter. You're the gimmick anyway.
Yeah, but it would have been nice. It would have been nice to, yes, and I signed a $750,000 fucking deal with them. It would have been nice to have the same wrestling name pretty much your whole career.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not a lot of guys can say that. You know what I mean? You had a 30-year career and you had the same name the whole time.
And on booking level, you were coming in as a ECW legend. I mean, to me, I was like, why is he not called Sandman?
Oh, what are you going to do?
Oh, and then they made it Hardcore Hack, which I hated because there was Hardcore Holly. I fucking hated that. Complained, nothing happened.
Yeah, that kind of ruined it for me, too.
Shane, real quick, I never realized that you actually broke an ECW, broke Pitbull number 2's neck. Is that so? Is there some kind of discrepancy going on, whether it was real or you?
It was real. I mean,
it was fucking real, dude. The halo and everything. Yeah.
Here's the funny thing about that was that he all day long, I was going to do a single drop DDT. And he kept telling me he was going to take it like a DDT. And I said, I kept telling him, no, because my weight's going to pull you off. Instead of coming straight, you're going to get pulled to a side and cause what's called a Jefferson fracture. Well, he kept saying it all day long, even though I would tell him the reasons not. I figured he was fucking with me. So I come off the ropes later in the night and give it to him. And instead of getting that boom bump, that bounce bump, it was like a thunk, like it hitting concrete. And I looked over and I saw Gary roll into the apron. It looked like he was selling. And later that night in the dressing room, he's going, I got a kink in my neck, and he keeps jerking his neck around, right? So Monday morning, Todd Gordon calls me and said, did you hear about Gary? I said, no. He said, he's in surgery right now. You broke his neck. Because Todd and I used to always rib each other, right? I said, Todd, I ain't falling for it. I said, he was jerking his neck all over the place Saturday night at the building. He's fine. So I didn't buy it the whole week until the next week we get to work. Right, Gary's got this thing screwed into his skull. And I was like, oh, my eyeballs went boing, boing, boing. Like, holy shit. He had a bad fracture, too. The doctors told him had he not had such a thick, strong neck, that it would have killed him or crippled him. One of the two. And,
dude, I broke my C4 in half in a match with Cactus Jack. Totally my fault. It's a spot that I dreamt of doing with a table or whatever, but I got cracked by the chiropractor the next day. And Russ was wrestling the next weekend.
Wow.
Didn't know it until a couple years later when I got hurt in that junkyard match in WCW. Went to the hospital. They gave me a CAT scan. I told them, I said, they thought my neck was broken right away. I'm like, dude, I've been hurt worse than this. My neck's not broken. So finally, by about 6 a.m. in the morning after the MRI, they're like, yeah, you're right. This was broken like 5 to 10 years ago.
Holy cow.
And I was walking around with a fucking wrestling with a broken neck for years.
You get killer weed. You got to share.
Fucking dude, I don't know. I'm pretty lucky, dude.
It's weird to say, because when I was getting off the OxyContin in the hospital, I'm in there for like 3 weeks, and I'm watching TV one day, and all of a sudden I was having a stroke. My whole body, I went blind. My whole body stiffened out, and right after this happened, like a seizure, the nurse looked at me and she said, what the hell was that? And I said, you tell me. Well, they started running tests and everything, and after 4 or 5 days of tests, biopsies, MRIs, CAT scans, x-rays, the doctor came in and said, when did you break your neck? I said, I've never broken my neck. He said, no, you've had a broken neck. He said, the only thing that causes this is infection, surgery, or broken neck. I said, well, had to be the infection because I've never had surgery and never broke my neck. So they went down and same thing, put you in the MRI machine specifically for the neck now. Came back and said, sure enough, bilateral fracture of C3. But like I always told people, the doctor then and told people since, in wrestling, your neck and back are always sore.
Yeah, sure.
They're both hurting me right now a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's constant pain. It'll be that way for the rest of your life. On a cold, rainy day, forget it.
Do you get up every morning in a lot of pain?
No, because I have such a sedentary life right now, and it's not like I ain't hopping out of bed like I used to. You know what I mean? Now it's more like pull a chair over, push up on that. Take your time.
Yep. On the very controversial crucifixion angle, obviously between Raven and the Sandman, Shane, is it true you brought Kurt Angle to this particular event where this happened?
I didn't bring him. He how that happened was he had been offered, I think, $1 million to do one appearance for WWF, and turned them down because he had just come off the Olympics with the gold medal. I think the guy got screwed. Like, he wasn't one of those guys that like cashed in and made big money from it. Mm-hmm. But he was still real guarded about his image at the time. Yeah. I connected to him through Mark Madden at Paul's behest, and I spoke to him on the phone. He was very nice, and he said, I was going to be very careful. He said, I can't be involved in any kind of crazy shit or whatever and I got it, right? The guy's trying to build a career. So we come to the building, and this happens, and Paul, all I heard was like, and Paul Heyman's running down the stairs from the crow's nest as fast as he can. He said, you better get up here right away. Kurt's losing his mind. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I said, over what? And he pointed to me. I thought I went, oh, right. Because I promised him nothing that would happen, right? So he came down, and he was hot, but he, once we explained to him and everything, he was fine. He sort of calmed down a bit from there. But Kurt was, I just saw him a few weeks ago. He's always been very gracious, very easy to talk with, reasonable. And he was hot. Again, you can understand, but he understood. And then, like the part that would never happen today, we didn't want that leaking out to hurt him. Mm-hmm. So we pulled all the Blackjack and Linda Rufo and Bill and George and Bill Apter, pulled everybody back, George DeHenis, and explained to them and said, please. And they didn't go out for a while. I mean, those pitchers stayed kayfabe for a while. And, I think once Kurt saw that, he was, I think, even more relieved that, that we were living up to our word. And just one of those. But again, the whole thing happened over the freedom that we had in ECW.
Sure.
Right? Like, Hack and Scotty were in charge of their angle. I was in charge of my stuff, whoever I was working with. And, so something like that happens. That's how we always ran every show. Paul would give you a finish, and you might get that 5 minutes before match time. And the rest of it was up to you.
Did you?
5 of 8, dude. He doesn't even have the card put together yet.
It sounds.
We were the only company that ever advertised just people. Didn't even advertise matches, dude.
Right. Paul,
Well, let me ask you this: like in today's wrestling, right? I guess they got it from the movies, but they show you every match that's going to be on before you. Isn't there something lost with that whole thing? Like, wouldn't you rather just be like, don't know it? Like, for example, I got a choice of watching some old movie I've seen 100 times, or AEW comes on. AEW shows their whole lineup, and I'm like, forget it, not watching this crap tonight. Moving on.
They tip their hand right at the beginning of the show. Here's everything you're going to see. I prefer surprise.
Right.
Let me have a couple of surprises. Vince McMahon in the old days used to say, on this show you're going to see Mil Mascaras. He didn't say who he's fighting.
Right.
You're going to see him.
Yeah.
So that's all changed too. Just out of curiosity, Shane, did the crucifixion angle make you feel uncomfortable at all?
No.
Sandman, were you like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, let's do this?
I loved it.
He rules. I mean, come on.
I loved it, dude. You're always looking to be the first to do something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Cigarette, cane, fucking beer, 5-year-old kid in the ring, dude. You're always looking for something to be the first something, dude.
Right. And what happened 6 months later?
They did it on WWE.
Thank you. Not as good either.
Sandman, C4P is asking, does Triple H ever send you royalties for lifting your gimmick? I don't know what this is about. Are they saying they stole your gimmick?
Is he talking about Stone Cold?
Well, Stone Cold.
I guess. I don't know.
Stone Cold didn't steal my fucking gimmick, dude. I went out there, drank a fucking 6-pack of my answer, smashed it on my head, and bled before I got into the ring. Stone Cold had a beer after a match.
I never saw Stone Cold.
That's not stealing my gimmick
either. By the way, were those Marlboros?
Camel, non-filter.
Dude! He's great. He's great. Yeah, me too.
I don't know if you guys know this, but now
Strikes.
the lawyer who is representing a lot of the past WWE stars that have passed away is now bringing a court case to the Supreme Court against the WWE.
Really?
For brain damage against all these wrestlers. I guess they went into Stuka's brain. Are you okay?
What's he talking about?
What do you guys feel about that?
It went into Snooker's brain.
I enjoyed it.
He enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
There you go.
Dude, I was at that company for a short time, you know what I'm saying? And I was doing a lot of fucking shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So to me, I want to get in his Hall of Fame someday. and if you get on the lawsuit, there's no chance of that, dude.
Right.
And two, but I just wasn't there long enough. You know, if I had my whole career there, it was ECW, maybe.
Right.
But.
Well, how do you feel about that? With Vince seems to be bearing the brunt of every wrestler who's wrestled in the last 40 years. What about the guys?
Well, of course, because he's the one with all the money.
But what about the guys who spend most of their career with guys like Crockett and WCW?
I don't know. So that's like me.
responsible?
That's why I don't feel that I really should be part of it.
Why should Vince be responsible for guys who never even got here? Or some of them.
The flip side of that would be if I own a business and I sell you that business, and there's a bunch of liens against that business, you just bought the liens as well. Vince now owns all the.
But where does the NWA sit? Because WCW he purchased, but the NWA still exists, and most of those guys work for the NWA that I'm speaking of. You know. These guys from a long time ago.
But from a do they just own the name, or is it any kind of corporate?
That's a great
lineage?
question.
I don't know.
What do you mean NWA still exists?
It still exists.
It does?
Talking about NWA Power, which doesn't really...
I don't even know
the
what that
National
is.
Wrestling
Billy
Alliance
Corgan.
title is still out there.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
It's
okay.
still out there.
Realize it
On a
was
very
called
small
that.
scale, but it still does exist.
Is that Chicago?
I'm not sure.
No, I think in Atlanta they're doing it,
Where-
right?
is that where they're
I think
based
so.
out of?
But don't hold me to it. I'm not an
It looks
expert on it.
the visual look of the show looks like the old 10th and Techwood studio.
It's like you're watching
I've
Georgia
never seen what
Championship
channels
Wrestling
it
a
on.
little bit. Well, it
YouTube.
was
It's on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's
the
going
pandemic
anymore. I'm not sure.
crushed it. They lost their momentum, and I haven't seen them on recently. So, but it was interesting. It was old school. It was like watching an old Florida Championship Wrestling show or something like that. It
Oh,
was
wow.
very
Florida
interesting.
Championship Wrestling.
Kind of
baby.
dug it, you know. I thought it was
Speaking
cool.
of Vince, he's getting older, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, sooner or later that time's going to come, I guess. If either one of you had to, talk at his funeral or speak at his funeral, what would you say about him?
I'd say thanks, dude.
Me?
I would
Just
say
get up there.
thanks.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks for letting me live. That helped me live my life stream.
There you go. There
Shane?
you go.
Well, I mean, you can't argue with success, right? I mean, the guy, no promoter previous to Vince McMahon could have ever imagined the business to the level he took it. To be a publicly traded company, to be making billions of dollars with no fans, and he's really pulled a rabbit out of a hat with this. But I think, in full honesty, you'd have to give both sides of that, right? I mean, he did incredible stuff with the business. The one thing that I take umbrage with Vince on is I remember him saying to me in conversations in several interviews before and after. I'm sure most of the other guys in the dressing room at different times, that his goal in taking over the business from his dad, buying it from his dad, was he wanted to transform it and bring it into the 20th century then, right? I guess implying that it was still being run like the 19th century. And he did. He succeeded beyond anybody's wildest dreams, except the talent is still being paid in the same manner it was being paid back in those dark ages of wrestling. I still have my old contracts, and I pulled them out last week for my podcast, and there's a clause in there that, I'm paraphrasing, that you could work for any other promotion on the planet except, and it listed all, like New Japan, All Japan, ECW, WCW, any place you could make a living.
Right.
When you look at it, the IRS has 20 or 21 criteria. If you wanted to file your taxes as an independent contractor, you have to meet all 21 of those. 20 out of 21, you're not an independent contractor. So to me, a real independent contractor would be able to say, hey, Vince, next Monday's my kid's 21st birthday. I really want to be there, so I won't be here next Monday. And then the week after that, I'm going to fly down and hang out with my friends down on AEW. And while I'm there, I might as well pick up a paycheck and perform for them. That would be a true independent contractor. I think we all know the joke of what would happen if you try to pull
Well,
anything
you
like
could
that.
have, but then he would just terminate his agreement with you.
Bingo, right? So your contract would be ended. But as soon as you accept it, from the way I interpret it, again, I'm no attorney, but with the way I interpret those 21 criteria, is that, first of all, like 6 of them don't even loosely apply to the loosest interpretation of our business. But as a house painter, if I decide to come paint your house today, you can't tell me I can't go paint his house tomorrow or Hack's the day after that.
Right.
And I can, as long as we don't have a written contract, say I'll get it done the next amount of time.
But again, if you went and did Hack's house, I could turn around to you and say, you're not going to do any more of my houses anymore.
True.
Right?
True. Right. Your house will be half painted. So it's the stuff that's really blowing my mind right now is that anybody, they should all be firing their attorneys for having signed a contract that gives Vince the rights to their legal name. That is mind-blowing to me.
What?
Yeah, Vince.
What?
Wait a minute, hold on.
Wait, so they can't use it afterwards?
So they've got third-party media. So basically, for example, you're a wrestler, you work for Vince. You then go open a Twitch channel, right? You've made all your money because of Vince, and then the problem is now you're going under your real name.
Vince sees it as side
right now,
cash that you're making off of his company
right
because
now,
he got you famous.
Here's the thing. They can use their real names, okay, if they didn't sign that contract giving them that, like, so if Kevin Nash was in his WCW and he used his real name, if he also was the character, then you're signing over your name to Vince McMahon as
Gotcha.
Kevin Nash. If you're Sandman and then you're not using your real name, you can go open a Twitch channel under your own name. But then Vince says, if you do that, you cannot work for me. Or you've got to give me a percentage. I mean, I think it's kind of fair. I don't know. Your thoughts?
I mean, is this being selfish or being smart on Vince's end?
You obviously would be in control if you're like in an entertainment industry, right? You don't want your guys going out and being in drug deals or shady sexual dealings or whatever. So there's obviously, but I think that would fall more under the scruples clause, the ethics clause. But we're like again, I'm seeing like a long span here. So if The Rock goes to Hollywood and becomes exponentially bigger than he was in WWF, not that he wasn't big in WWF, but does that now give Vince the rights forever to say, well, I made you famous, so all that money you're making, I should get a cut of that?
So, from what I understand, he does get a cut of when he was being presented as The Rock. When he goes off as Dwayne Johnson, he's off on his own.
Right.
That's from what I understand. So, a perfect example is Selena Vega. Selena Vega had an agreement with the WWE, say she was making $125 a year. Supposedly, she had a Twitch channel where she was making $400,000 a year. She took the option to leave the WWE and run under her real name and whatever she's doing because she was making more money with social media. That's her right. But again, I don't think people realize if you don't have, you have to pay people to market you.
Yeah,
that'll last for a while, and then the numbers will fade.
You know, once Selena Vega, listen, once people aren't jerking off to Selena Vega anymore, and she's not good looking anymore, guess what?
Which is about 5 years from now, to be very honest.
I mean, I'm being
anyway.
Look, I'm not being pro Vince on this,
right now
but
she's
and I understand your point. But I think that if they go and spend all this money on you, you should not have the right to go make all the money on your fake wrestling.
The fame you acquire through the company that gave you the platform.
Yeah.
But that also is a two-lane road.
Suppose you were over before you got there.
Right. Like he was. Wait a minute.
If you take 10 wrestlers and you push them all to the moon, not all 10 of those wrestlers are going to get over.
Right.
So, some one or two will.
One or two will have to be repackaged and they'll get over, but the rest, they just won't.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's something, because the whole world has moved into places. Like, I remember signing contracts that said that you were giving up the rights to anything now in existence or to ever be. Like, who on the planet in 1985 could have envisioned Bluetooth? Or, I mean, that was Star Trek, right? Can't never do that.
Right.
And yet here it is. And I don't know if the new contracts do address any of that more deeply. But I think that because everything is moving so quickly, especially the technology fields, that that needs to be addressed because it's going to be a big gray area. As it stands right now, the way I'm interpreting from the things I'm reading and the people that I've spoken to is that, like Vince is claiming that because of their likeness. Well, I can't change my face. I can't go out of Vince's building and contort my face or put a mask on, or put the old Groucho Marx glasses on. I'm Troy Martin. This is what he looks like. And so if I go out and do some side business and make money, does that give him rights to take that money because he owns my likeness? Again, we're just in a gray area, that I think it really has to be dug into and defined. They're going to always find it on their side, right? Obviously, every business would. That's not.
Yeah, but it is your face.
Right. So, but until it...
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is your face. I mean, what the fuck?
And stop and think in this business, right? I mean, there is one place, really, to make that huge living like that and get that kind of huge exposure. So, if you walk in there and they say, well, I want your firstborn child, where do you say yes or no? Any kid that I knew coming into business, me included, would have given our eye teeth to get into the business, right? We loved it so much. And
so you sign away anything just to get in.
Sign away anything just to get in.
Is it fair to say that now there's two options? Because some of the people, the wrestlers in AEW, are making mad money.
Yeah.
So are there two options now?
But for a lot of years there wasn't.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Until recently in AEW, yeah, of course.
Has AEW arrived in your guys' eyes? Are they going to be here for a while?
It doesn't sound like it to me. He was telling me the ratings earlier, so I don't know. The ratings don't sound that great.
Well, that's a funny thing we were talking about, right? Do ratings even matter? Because guess what?
I think
think about
Why?
it.
Because there's so many different avenues you can get it besides
it's
the
not
TV.
much CTV. Like, I'm not going to... So, even this point, let me just put it this way.
It used to be must-see TV.
If if ratings mattered that much, Peacock wouldn't have handed Vince McMahon and the WWE $1 billion to rent their network.
Right,
$1 billion.
That's Vince.
But with it, that's not. They're not basing it off TV ratings. They're also basing it off the 100 billion views or something of the online stuff.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like
it's measurable.
I got to be honest
So
with you.
ratings have been diminished then with all these other options. I would
Yeah,
say.
So
no,
why
ads
isn't there
are
another
important. They're still
rating? Why there should be another system? Like, you know how the Nielsen rating used to be TV?
Yeah, I think
There
Nielsen's
should
a
be
shot.
another
It's
rating
useless.
that adds in all that other
Everything.
shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes
Get
too
on
much
that.
sense.
I have that done by the time I get back.
I
Get
will.
back here next time.
The one thing I'll say about
Well, I'm watching the
AEW,
analytics right now with you right now, so we're doing all right.
Yeah, how are we doing? Is he
Good.
still continuing?
He's doing
to
great.
help us? Okay.
He's doing great.
A couple comments about AEW. First of all, you can go there and make a good pay for a handful of guys, but you're not getting that global exposure, right? So the other stuff that they can't make money on anyway. So it's all really what the individual is looking for and what they want to get out of this. I think most of them.
Or if you just have so much fucking money that you don't give a fuck.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's
But
a
as
good
far as the ratings go, the TV ratings, TNT is or was footing the production costs for that. I would seem to think that at some point they're relative to something, other they wouldn't be keeping the TV ratings. When you see those ratings, they started off at the 1.4 million the first week, dropped to 700. Over the last year and a half, it's been 750, 800, a couple times 9, but right back down to the 7s.
Right.
If you draw that out in a long line, you're going to have a straight line with a few bumps up and down. They've shown zero propensity to really grow the company. And unless they have some outlet, like Vince has the network and now has all these other outlets with Fox and
Do they do a lot of house shows?
No, they don't do that.
So the
It's hard to
WWE
fucking grow
announced
a
during
company
COVID.
fucking without house shows, dude.
WWE announced even if COVID cancels, and I don't know how true it is, they are going to stop doing house shows.
Right. Which is it's a
is
crazy
sad.
revenue
Wait,
source.
what?
Yeah.
They're going to stop doing house shows.
This is sad, man. This is
They're
sad.
just going to do
This is
live
sad,
pay-per-views and live Raws and live SmackDowns. That's it.
This is. Are you?
COVID killed Marianne. Why? It's killing house shows.
I didn't know that.
And Shane,
bad.
just so you know,
bad.
I had forgotten about this. Bobby Lincoln wrote out there, AEW just signed a 3-year deal with TNT.
See, that's what
So
they're
again, to
treading
your
water,
point, are they the ones
but-
paying for the production? Is TNT paying? Is this flipping the bill for this? I don't know.
Well, again, the ratings have all changed. At one point, it's worth more than it used to be. We're seeing lowered ratings across the board. Everything is down, right? But for a company like TNT, I remember, and I'm probably going to, so don't hold me specifically to the numbers, but the week that WCW got bought by Vince, they did like a 5-something in the ratings, or near 5. In the last I checked, it was like 5 years ago. In the time since TNT sold it, the next highest rating was something like 16%, like 16 points behind what that wrestling did that final time. So they'd probably give their eye teeth to have any kind of rating that was even in that ballpark or in that direction. And I think also there's probably a lot in TNT looking at the history of TBS, TNT, the whole Turner outlets, that the connection that it always had to professional wrestling, and trying to I think, pull some of that back. But again, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe they'll be happy with having that straight line going forward. I cannot imagine that a network that sold WCW when it was doing those ratings, if it's any of the same people still involved, that they're willing to keep floating production costs on a company that's got ratings doing this.
It's just treading water.
Just treading water.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys got a signing to go to. We got one final question from the Pharaoh. First of all, I want to say thank you for this wonderful interview. You guys are very, very intelligent, very fantastic. All right, the Pharaoh's final question.
Boy, oh boy. I've been wanting to ask this ever since I heard you guys were coming on, and I'm really praying that Sandman gives me a really well thought out answer, because I can't wait to hear his answer.
Well, there's no chance of that,
Well,
dude. So
there I
get
go.
to it.
Oh, well, might as well just get rid of this. Guys, I'm going to ask you, because we do this often, we talk about, who is the Mount Rushmore? I'm going to ask you to give me 4 names. And yes, I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm dying to know. Who is the Mount Rushmore, in your guys' opinion, each of you, the Mount Rushmore of ECW? Give me 4 names. And
I
yes,
don't know, like us two, Van Dam and Dreamer and Sabu.
Wait.
There's just too
Someone's
many.
going to have to be off that. There's 4.
Yeah.
It's got to be 4. So
All right, while Shane's off, it'll be me, Dreamer, Sabu, and Van Dam.
Oh, man.
God! The greatest ECW
What else am I
champion
supposed to say right now?
Okay. No, I know.
Shane next.
I'm just curious.
I see that I'm the mountain. So their faces are on my mountain.
Okay.
No,
I was an ESS answer if I ever heard one.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Is ESS on the Mount Rushmore?
that was the time.
Eric was just saying he's the mountain on the way here. It's hilarious.
I should put myself in.
Sims, if Sims could make love to himself, he would do it 24/7.
Oh, so would I.
Well, talk about
Any second.
redefining keeping in touch with yourself. This
All
is
right.
ridiculous.
Shane, who do you got, brother?
I'd have Funk on there because Funk brought the legitimacy
Harry
to it.
Funk.
Sabu.
Right.
I'd have Hack on there because these guys were all so integral to like the brand itself,
Funk,
right?
Sabu, Sandman. Okay.
And beyond that, I think you have to have, a baby face, like I'm guessing, like a Tommy Dreamer that represents that.
Okay. Okay.
It's.
And he was an original, too. Like an original like me.
Okay.
Yeah, because without Funk, I mean, Funk was like the engine of the place for the first year, right? We were all following his lead.
Yeah, it was fuck
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, God, I was so green.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a shitload of people in that dressing room that would qualify for being up there, right? It's the most talented dressing room I was ever in, and by far the hardest working.
Is Rob Van Dam, last little thought, is Rob Van Dam probably the most responsible for some of the wrestling we see today with the aerial moves and the flipping and the flying? He seemed to open up a door back in those days that most wrestlers...
I don't know. Eddie Guerrero was doing a pretty good job of it.
And then he made a pit stop.
Yeah, dude, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And Ray was there at the beginning. He was Psychosis. You know those guys.
Sure.
Doing all that crazy
Magical.
shit too, you know?
Great stuff. Great stuff. Mikey?
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys.
But
I want you to
RVD's a
stay
beast,
safe. Have a good time out in Queens. I'm sure there'll be thousands of fans waiting for you guys.
ESS. Where the fuck are my shoes? Where the fuck are my
Where's
shoes?
he going? Oh, he's
Eric?
putting his shoes on. Oh, hold on a second.
If you didn't know, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty DeFaro, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. You can catch you can catch Monty DeFaro on the Facebook Live Monty DeFaro page, the YouTube page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, and Twitch TV. We'll see you next Thursday, where me and Jimmy Farrow will be in studio, and then followed by, I think on March 5th, we've got Stars and Stripes, and then March 6th, Bob Backlund. Have a good day, Farrow.
This is the Pharaoh. Until next time, later.